Right, here we are. We're at St George's Park with the West Brom Carl Walker.
Not quite.
Darnell Furlong. How are you? Good to meet you. I'm Andy.
Too. Nice to meet you.
Before we get into the new season and pre-season and all that sort of thing, just what have you been up to? Close season?
Not a lot really. I was fortunate enough to have my second little one.
Yeah.
Just as the season was ending last year. So.
Little boy, little girl, is that?
Little girl.
Little girl. Yeah.
So that prevented us from getting away and what I'd usually do, go on holiday, something like that. But yeah, just a really nice time for me in another way. And I suppose it took my mind away from the disappointment at the end of last season. Really, you know, it was a few days before the end of the season that it all happened. So straight after the game, you know, there almost wasn't time to be gutted. It was straight into dad mode and.
Well, it's good. It gives you that, doesn't it? Being a parent, it gives you that release. You can go home and no matter how you feel, you've got little ones there that rely on you to, play with them, cheer them up, and you've got to put that face on. You know, at home, you've got
no matter what your day's been like.
Yeah.
You know, at work or however it's been, good or bad, you go home and you know a smile from them, it changes everything.
It does, yeah.
So.
Yeah, it certainly does. Certainly does. Formula One as well. I hear you've been down to Silverstone.
Yeah, I went to watch the race, watched Lewis win, which was a really nice experience. Yeah, I'm a big fan of the sport, big fan of Lewis himself, and
yeah, he's
it's something that I'd maybe like to get into, you know, after football, like in terms
really?
of just in terms of being in and around the motorsport, whether it's travelling to go and watch or.
Well, I've heard you've set a lap record, didn't you? You've been out with the lads, haven't you? Been karting.
Yeah, a few of us went down to Tamworth, Daytona, and yeah, just had a bit of fun, a bit of a team bond.
Who did you beat? You beat one of the Formula One, current Formula One.
So an
racer.
ex-Formula One driver, Nicholas Latifi, and he had a time on there which I think we need to talk about, but. Yeah, I managed to beat him on that one. But yeah,
I take it when you're out on the road, you drive a little bit more.
Cautiously, only on the track. No, it was it was enjoyable there, and yeah, it's something that I really enjoy doing. You know, it's probably other than football my favourite sport.
Brilliant.
Yeah, and maybe something that, as I said, I'd like to sort of like look into when I finish playing. I think from young, I think I was very, you know, talented in that sport. I think.
Where did it come from? Was it like a games console? Is that where you kind of found it?
I don't really know. I think just from young, I just had a real love for cars and, you know, fast cars and supercars right from a young age. My dad used to take me to, you know, shows and exhibitions in London and things like that, and it just grew from there. And yeah, I do think that given the chance, I think if my life had gone a different route, maybe into the motorsport world, I think I could have got somewhere. But yeah, you know, it's been a completely different ride for me in football, and I wouldn't change it for the world.
Brilliant. I mean, we're here at St George's Park. It's where you're actually on the pitch training, where the England team train. How are you finding it? It's like a base camp for training. No, this is probably our third time here since I've been here, across pre-seasons and things like that. And yeah, you know, the facilities are crazy. You know, we've got good facilities at our base, but here it's next level. It's like one of the best in the world, and you know, you go in the gym and it's massive space, every piece of equipment you want. You come on the pitches are pristine, and it's just a really nice place to work and get away from the training ground to continue your pre-season. How are the new guys? How are they fitting in?
Yeah, they're fitting in really well. You know, we're trying to obviously include everyone. We've got a lot of young lads with us as well, but they're doing really well. They're both very gifted footballers, very very talented with the ball, and I think for them it's just a case of getting used to Carlos's style and what he wants from them as players, which will take a little bit of time. But yeah, they're settling in really well.
Well, coming on to that, I mean, how did you find it? Because I mean, I've been watching you. You've been here, this is your sixth season this year. I think you played 200 games around. You know, how do you find his style? Because I've watched you evolve to sort of an out-and-out, to start with very attacking fullback. Now your defensive game is, you know, you're kind of half and half, you know, and now you're in midfield. I see you popping up into the midfield. Is that something that he's done?
Yeah, definitely. You know, I mean, it's something that the manager has almost asked from us as fullbacks, myself and Connor especially, to be able to play in whether it's a high and wide position, a deep position, almost like a centre-back, and then, like you said, the midfield position. And it's something I've really enjoyed. I've never been asked to do it before in terms of playing from fullback into midfield. But yeah, something I really enjoy, and it's something for the opposition to think about. You know, they don't always know how to deal with it, and if we can get into areas where they're almost not sure who to press with or not sure whose man it is, I think it really does help.
It does, and from watching it, I mean, your distances are great, you know, because you're into that midfield area, but you always got to have your eye on your winger behind you, you know, but you always seem to be able to just get there with that little header and that little thing that, you know, and it's great to see. The first time I said it, I was like, "Whoa, God, he's what they're doing in midfield." And, it was just I think I saw it was Klopp. I think the first time I saw it, was doing it, and also midfielders going out to fullback areas and things like that. So I mean, the game's evolved in it, and it's so interchangeable now that
so much over the last 4 or 5 years as well. The change.
You have to be able to play any position really that you're called upon to do.
To Thomas Asante, Diangana across towards Furlong, edge of the box. Darnell Furlong will shoot. Oh my God! Brilliant! Oh my God! What a goal! Brilliant from Darnell Furlong.
Let's go and touch on it. We don't want to dwell on it, but the disappointment last season, Southampton game. For me, I don't know whether it was dirty tricks or whether it was coincidence. The bus was late getting into the ground. All of a sudden, these little boards were up around the pitch to stop this. Your rocket launch of a throw in that they've obviously seen, and we're concerned about. But what? How do you feel about
that? Still hurts now. Still gutted that we aren't training here and looking forward to a Premier League season. But it's football. It happens, and I think we had a great season. We had a season where we ended up finishing at the end of the season where we wanted to be, which was in the playoffs. And just in my opinion, I think we came up against probably the best team in the league.
Yeah, mine as well.
And I think if you're on a one-off day or playing them once, I think they're the team that you would sort of try to avoid really. And then to have to do it twice was always going to be an ask. But we did believe in it. We did believe we were going to do it. But we just knew the challenge was going to be very high against.
Did you believe that? I mean, we all know. I mean, inside the dressing room, there's a belief that's kept with inside the dressing room about what you feel that you can achieve. Yeah. But we sat at 5th place for a long time. I mean, it wasn't we put a couple of games of run together to just get into there. I mean, we cemented our place in there very, very early and never come out. We were solid. And I totally agree with what you said. I think Southampton are the best team in that division. I know they never got automatic, but for me, the best footballing side in that division. But so are you going to use that disappointment from last season? Is that going to be a motivation? Is it going to drive you to do better this season? And what are your expectations? What both personally and as a collective group, what are you looking to achieve this year?
Again, it's the same target. It will be go for the highest point in the league we can. Whether it's that top 2 or into the playoffs as a minimum is where we'll be aiming. I think if we're speaking honestly as a group, I think we need more players. We need to sign a few more. We've got a lot of young lads who haven't really played yet, who will play in the future, but they're on their way to sort of like beginning their careers. So I definitely think we need a few more players, as everyone I'm sure would say the same. But the main bulk of the group, the core players, are still here, and there's a lot of players that have been promoted before, have played in the Premier League within the squad already. So as I said, we add 1 or 2, and it's the same target again to go and achieve promotion, whether that's playoffs or.
How did you find playing behind Tom Fellows? Obviously, he burst onto the scene and did great, and obviously you must have had an influence on that because you're such in close proximity to him, to talking to him all the time, positioning him, pulling, dragging him around. How do you think next season, or this season, sorry, he's going to feel? Because he was a little bit of an unknown last season, and teams didn't know about him. They're going to know about him this season, aren't they? Is he going to have to mix his game up a little bit, chop and change a little bit?
Definitely.
Just grow and evolve a little bit as a player.
He'll have to be ready for that, but that's only a compliment to him and how he's done so far. I mean, when he came into pre-season last year, it was a bit of a surprise as to how well he done straight off the bat, and I think he was unlucky not to maybe get a regular chance from earlier on, but he done brilliant towards the end of last season. To be playing in his first season for us and it take us to the playoffs and playing in big high pressure games, he's almost done all but the final. He's done everything. So I think this will be a really good year for him. As I said, there'll be teams that will look out for him, double up on him, things like that. But then it's about him, being smart and maybe sacrificing, maybe not having to take on 2 players and using the overload somewhere else where they're a bit light. So as I said, Tom is a brilliant player, a brilliant 1v1 as we've seen. I will look forward to him being very attacking for us this year.
We spoke about it earlier with the fans' expectation last season. I mean, I only know because I'm in and around the fans all the time. The expectation was not very high for last season, although yours would be different in the dressing room because you've got your finger on the pulse. I think this season the expectation is high. I think they're going to demand playoffs minimum. How do you deal with that as a group of players, that little bit of pressure going into this season?
I think, we've been well prepared for it here. As I said, there's players that have been promoted, been relegated in the squad, and players that have, like last season, how we missed out. So we're definitely prepared, but it's a case of blocking out outside noise. You know, the fans are great when we're at the Hawthorns and it's rocking and they're boosting us and giving us a platform to go and express ourselves on and do well. But at the same time, when things aren't going well, you know, or are going well, it's about staying calm, keeping that level. And you know, we're at the end of the day, we're the professionals. We know what to do out there or what we're trying to do, and believe in the process, what the manager tells us, and go for it.
I was having a little look earlier. Obviously, when I played, it was the same era as your dad. I played against him when he was at Chelsea, and certainly when he was at Blues. You know, how much of an influence is he? You said earlier he took you to car shows and things like that. So perhaps you should be a Formula One driver. I mean, how much of an influence did he have over your career? And how come you never did you start as a striker or something and then fall back?
Yeah, so a massive influence on my career. Both my parents are the biggest influence on my career, and will always be. But yeah, so when I was young and I joined QPR, I joined as a striker and then slowly moved sort of like different positions and found myself at right back. And I think I'm very grateful to the coaches there at the time, because they recognised almost where I was going to have a career in the game. I might not have had one if I was. Who
was the manager then at the time?
So it was all through the youth. So I had Steve Gallen, who was a really big part of my upbringing at QPR, Mark Bircham, people like that who played with my dad himself. But they just moved you about to a more suited position, and that's how it came from there. So those people were very influential in my career. But as I said,
now you've said centre forward, I can see, because your attacking play down the right hand side is fantastic. I mean, some of the balls you whip in is incredible, and the long throw. I mean, we've got to talk about it. I mean, we've scored some really vital goals this season. I mean, it makes me laugh when you sort of hit the Smethwick end and you disappear up the tunnel. I think, where's he gone? And all of a sudden you come out and you launch that ball. I mean, it's like an arrow. I mean, you must practice that. Is there sort of weights or training or technique?
No, honestly, we don't practice. We practice the setup of what's going on in the box. But me as myself, I don't practice the long throws ever. It was. It's
you don't do any special stretching on your arms?
Honestly, not. No, I think
we used to have a player called Rory Delap. He could throw it in from the halfway line. He was mental. But,
yeah, it's like one of those things I think I've just had from young. I think me and my friends, sometimes we used to play a game with basketballs. We used to throw basketballs from, what do you call it, half court, halfway line on a basketball court, and we used to try to get it into the basketball hoop from quite far away. But that's the only thing I can think of as to where I sort of first thought that I had a long throw. So maybe that was what kind of where it came from. But yeah, as I said, we don't practice it at all myself.
So have you got any sort of personal goals for this season? I mean, you've scored every goal you seem to score, you don't score tap-ins, do you? You know, so do you ever set yourself targets for assists or goals?
Not goals as a defender, no. For me, it's just more about team targets, you know. As we spoke about earlier, there's a clear target from the football club and from everyone involved, and that's to get promoted. So, you know, we've failed the last 3 years, you know, getting closer and closer as the years have gone. So we've managed to go one step closer. The season just gone, so hopefully it can be one more.
One thing that I saw last season, it was there for everybody to see. The team spirit. You know, I've already said that for me, there were some great individual performances throughout the season, including yourself. But as a team collectively, it was a real tight group. You know, and we used to go out and, you know, go to the pub and then play golf and snooker and things like that. And then, I mean, I've heard that Carlos doesn't really do anything like to actually encourage that team spirit. It's just something that you guys have got in the dressing room.
Yeah. It's not a case of he might not encourage it or it be planned by the club.
Yeah, planned.
But he's more than happy for us to do it. You know, while we were here, we asked for if there was an afternoon where we could sort of like be off site and get away and do something, and we didn't actually manage to sort anything in the end, but the manager was more than happy for us to go and
so that's come from within the dressing room.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, there's you've got senior boys in the group, the captain Jed.
You're a senior boy now. You're 28, 29.
28 now,
you're going into your what you call your prime. So you got after 30, it's all downhill sort of thing.
Hopefully not, but
well, let's hope not for you. But yeah, I mean.
But yeah, no, there's a good group here, a good group of sort of older lads that.
So do you see yourself as a sort of an older figure in the dressing room?
I think so. Yeah. Now, when I first come, I used to look up to the characters, Bart's, people like that, Matty Phillips, Jake, who was obviously a good friend of mine. We used to travel together.
Yeah.
But now, I've come to an age now where, you know, I'm experienced and I've seen situations on and off the pitch a lot of times before. So if I can help out or see what the group needs. As I said, there's a group of us that will organise things like that and get together. Whether
the war committee, is it? That's what we used to call it.
Yeah, whether it's a Christmas party or anything like that. Yeah, so the group is tight knit, and it comes from the main core of the group and all the boys being great lads.
But you can see that it's evident when you guys go out on the pitch. You can see that it's such a tight group. You know, and not even just the 11 playing, but the subs, the ones that are injured. You know, it just feels. You know, DK, bless him. I mean, you know, he's had such terrible luck, but you know, everybody rallies, the players have rallied around him, all the staff have rallied around him, and you know, he's there at the touchline for every game, home game, you know, and it feels very inclusive for everybody, and it's so evident to see.
Yeah, just a brilliant group of lads is all I can say really on that. You know, there's no one that's not willing to do anything, not willing to get involved. When on that go-karting trip, I think Ozzy had been here maybe 2 days and he was there with us, so you know, it's brilliant. Heggs would have been there as well, but he had to sort out where his living arrangements are going to be here, otherwise he would have been there as well, and you know, he can't wait to come to the next one and things like that. So yeah, as I said, it's a great group, and we just keep getting great boys. So
excited for next season?
Yeah, definitely. It's as I said, once we get the games underway, maybe last season will be completely forgotten about, and it will be truly out of our minds. Because we still obviously think about it.
Do you think you should? Do you think it's always better to keep a little bit in there just to remember how you felt?
I think so. I think, yeah.
As long as it's not in a negative way.
Yeah, no, I think it won't be a hindrance, but you know, we'll remember sort of maybe the pain if we were to get into a similar situation this season. But at the same time, I think when the games start coming thick and fast, there'll be no sort of how it was in the off season of thinking, where could we be now, that type of thing. But
yeah, you don't get time to think, do you? In this league, I mean, it's like Monday, Tuesday, Monday, Wednesday, Saturday. Sorry. It's crazy league, but it's a fantastic league, and you know, one that's very, very difficult to get out of, as you know. But the reward's so big at the end.
Yeah. Just as I said, it was a shame, but yeah, we'll be going for it again this year.
Darnell, been brilliant.
Thanks a lot. Nice to meet you.
And you. And good luck for the season.
Cheers. Thank you.